All right. Well, after the last episode, some of you may be wondering, why do I want to go watch this mess of a world getting played? It's nothing but thank you screens. Like, we get it. You're appreciative. We're watching your video, but, it'd be cool to see something. Well, all I can say is, on the path to greatness, you're going to have to stub your toe a couple times, and we certainly did that. Fortunately, I mean, I can't believe we talked about it the other day, and then I go and do it. Fortunately, there wasn't a dragon fight or anything that you guys missed. You did miss a little bit of hanging some ceiling tiles. We'll be back down there in this episode for sure. But we are gonna get right back to making good on it and showing you guys what you missed. It was a lot of this. So I'm guessing nobody really listened along to any of the commentary. If you did, again, you are a rock star supporter, and I appreciate you. But we were talking a little bit about the various um, days. What day is it? And it's kind of fun to look at every once in a while. I get jaded pretty quickly if I've looked at them for a regular bit. But here in the United States, at least, I don't know if this is a thing in other countries or not, but way back it used to be like, oh, as an honorarium for somebody that did something or a particular thing, a local city council or whatever go, okay, well today is John Smith Day, right? Because John Smith donated money for a library. So today, April 17th of 1907 is John Smith Day. Congratulations, Mr. Smith. And they'd all be like out at the little park and the local band would play, everybody'd be all happy and yay. Well, along the way, I don't even know. I mean, somebody's got to make money off these things. Um, it's generally something out of trade groups or marketing associations or chambers of commerce or what have you. People trying to promote things will make a day about the thing, right? To help boost sales and all that kind of stuff. So we kind of run down the list a little bit. I just happened to glance at it. And first up on the list was National Farmers Day. We talked about how awesome farmers are. If you guys have watched my streams and watched me establish farms at the beginnings of my world, I greatest respect. The America's farm families that are out there are incredible. I know. There's a lot of pushback about big farming and big agra and all that. I won't claim to know a whole lot one way or another, but I do know that there's a lot of people out there in small communities around the world where you have to give up a lot to be out surrounded by lots of land that can grow crops. But we greatly appreciate it. So there was that one. There was also National Free Thinkers Day, and we talked a little bit about the Salem witch trials that helped that and how. Really, this was something that was created here in the 90s or so as social media was just becoming a thing, and the idea being, approach things with rationality and a little bit of goodwill towards people that may not share the same view, and be open to new ideas and new ways of looking at problems or ideas or any of that kind of stuff. So, yeah, go free thinkers. Then, next up on the list, and these are the ones we hadn't gotten to, so a little bit more ability to fill our time here. We have National Gumbo Day. Oh, this is the one I was kind of teasing at the end of the last video. And again, apologies for covering up the video. Um, who does? Wow, that was a good little whistle on the who. Who doesn't love some gumbo? Oh my goodness! And you go to the right places in New Orleans, and I think gumbo's like any other regional food. Even in New Orleans, there's a million places that do it just to slop it out and make a buck on it. Cheap pre prepped ingredients and that kind of stuff. But if you've ever had somebody home cook some real gumbo that cares about making the stock, flavoring it, uh, bringing in the Holy Trinity and all the goodness over it. Oh my goodness, you fall in love, and I not ironically at all, I guess really. There's a Jimmy Buffett song about gumbo, one of my favorite of the Jimmy Buffett songs, and there have been a lot of those. I think everyone should go through a phase in their life where they're like, oh yeah, talk about a guy that I'm sure he's had some issues. He's an older guy now, has been doing it for a long time, and probably upset some people along the way. But a guy who just seems to represent, hey, we only get one shot at this life. Let's try to enjoy it and celebrate some of the simple things and treat one another well, and basically just have a party. I can get my head around that. I think that's solid enough. A reason to do anything. And yeah, Gumbo. Check it out. It's a good song. Good food. Great food. One of my absolute favorites. There aren't any real crazy things on that list, but some of my absolute favorite foods are some of the most basic around it. And gumbo is one of those. It's basically developed as locally sourced materials. The fresher the better, but you got seafood, you got poultry, um, you have the Holy Trinity, of course, which are peppers, bell peppers, onions, and celery. Um, you can have okra in there as a thickener to go along or in conjunction with like a roux. Um, and over better rice. And if it's done right, it is absolutely, food of the gods type stuff. So good. Um, I, I'm kind of that, simple guy. A well-made homemade lasagna is right up there as good as anything else you can get. Um, Even oddly, meatloaf. Mom's meatloaf was top tier in my book when I was a kid, and a lot of times it's like, oh, what, oh yeah, birthday or whatever, make me a meatloaf and some pea salad. I've talked about pea salad in the past. Won't sidetrack that too much, but good eating, simple, basic, traditional type stuff. That's where all the flavors are, and really, it's about if you're gonna have a good meal, it's about the atmosphere of the location where you have it and the people you're sharing it with. Absolutely um, transform what can be otherwise mundane food into a life memory kind of stuff. So big fan of all that. Um, but here we are, unbelievably wrapping up this tower. I think they're done falling. And we'll see if we want to hollow that out for more farming or not. We got good progress, but I'm wondering if, since we're here, we just go ahead and get another started. No, I think maybe that's our biggest boy. Like I said, uh, You guys didn't miss much. We did one thing that you may have heard but not seen if you didn't just click away as soon as you realized the mistake that I'd made and didn't realize until the end of my recording session. We'll see if we got all the way up here. Um, it takes a bunch of obsidian to cover our little arena area, so we'll be working out here quite a bit. I'm hoping that what we have now-ish may uh, be good progress on our. Look how far down our little portals are. Now these, by the way, we fall off an edge here as we're positioning. Not that we have. I don't plan to, but we pop a totem. This is the big stuff fall. But yeah, here we go. We'll see. Um, how many are in here? I don't know if we started a fresh stack exactly, but it seemed to have been pretty close. So we'll see how many we have here. Clearly, it's not 64. Maybe in the 40s though. While we're going, I'm gonna get some coffee here. Coffee's good. Had to freshen up, knowing that we got a bunch of obsidian grinding to be doing. It's wow. Excuse me. That is 40. Don't know how many went into any prior stack. And don't know exactly where we're going to level that up to. I got to double check again. Looks like clear video, and we are at 12 minutes. So I think we can go ahead and fill our pockets here. Let's remember we're at 40. And see if we can get a full count on the height here. So we got Gumbo Day, right? We got a little diversion here as we finished up that tower. So this Gumbo Day, the other day, that was the most exciting one in my mind. Man, let's celebrate Gumbo. But again, these are the kinds of things that, it'll be like National Donut Day, and I'm sure that the convention of donut manufacturers sponsored by Dunkin' and Winchell's get together and you know, hey, how are we going to promote National Donut Day this year? They want to get they want the your little morning radio drive show guy to start talking about, hey, it's National Donut Day. Why don't you stop off and pick up a dozen for your coworkers on the way in? Show how caught up you are. Gumbo, I don't know exactly how that all fits in, but I'm sure like the New Orleans Board of Tourism is a big fan of it. It's certainly a food tied specifically to that local area cuisine and culture. And, they probably kick a few bucks here and there to get that registered or whatever. Again, I don't know who the gatekeeper is on what's a day or what's not. And it used to be by a little like local town proclamation and that kind of stuff. But um, is there a federal government designating branch? Is that some staffer's job to keep track and make sure that the applicants pay their fee, right? Because that's the bottom line. But the other one, and this definitely was like, what are we doing here? Okay, so was it we were off 24? We got another 8. So there you go. Making good progress. Don't look at an Enderman, don't fall off. This is the I just hate. Standing right on that edge and not quite dropping down. So the other day that I saw on the list is it is National Vermont Day. So for all you Vermontonians or Vermites, I don't know what you guys call yourselves, but congrats on your state day. What's that all about? Is that like this was the day? Is it like the state's birthday kind of deal? Or is it just a tourism kind of deal and like, hey, it's fall, it's Vermont. I'm sure the colors are beautiful. Is it just one of those kind of deals where they're trying to, hey, have you thought about Vermont recently? Why don't you bring the family and kids, come up and peep some leaves and take a hike or something? I don't know. It kind of struck me as odd though. Like, does every state have a day? And do the states fight for their days? Or like, hey, uh, August 28th. That's a good one. I want that day. Uh, you you go pound sand, Nebraska. We're taking it. No, I don't know. I just very odd. And I didn't get down far enough to read like what they put into the blurb. Like why is it Vermont Day? Do I care? Should I? Does it do others do Vermont people care? But that's like a lot of people in states do the same thing, right? Like I'm sure we all know, every state's got a flower and a bird and a motto and a song and all those it's like most people don't even know if you ask like, "Oh, what's the official this of the state?" I don't know. Does that matter to me in my daily life? Odds are no, but somebody along the way decided all these things and there I want to say, and remember, I've done a little bit of birding over the years too, but I want to say that the cardinal is the most common state bird um, among state. Like there, you can certainly overlap. There's state trees too. Every state's got a tree. I believe Colorado would be the quaking aspen. It's a guess though. I don't know. I do know that the state bird is the lark bunting. Um, yeah, I don't know. I know there's a plethora of all those kinds of things. Um, and again, it's the same deal as the national days. Just you know, uh, boosters or state boards that get together and kind of name these things to just have a sense of it's kind of like a high school or a college or any other school having team colors and a mascot and all that, something to rally around a little bit. And I think back in the day, um, when we were making more states and things, those things were pretty important to people. People associated with them, and um, I don't know if I've talked so much here or not, but prior to kind of the Civil War type time, right? We think of the United States of America, right? That's where I live, and we're, if you ask, if you're traveling, right? Let's say we go to India, and we're traveling around, and people are like, "Oh, welcome to our country. Where are you from? Who are you, or where are you from?" I'm going to say I'm an American. That's kind of it, and you kind of associate that way. You if you are traveling and you meet people on a cruise or something like that, it's, oh, hey, I hung out with some really cool New Zealanders or Kiwis or Canadians or some folks from France, something. You associate with those national tags. That didn't always used to be the case. Back earlier, you talk about like founding fathers and some of that kind of stuff, but even lingering much after that, people were Virginians or New Yorkers or um, even down more to communities, but it was the United States of America. Those states, much more than we think of them today, were individual entities, and they had this um, common affiliation or union with the other states to unite for the common good. But um, you moved from state to state. That was you were moving. That was uprooting your family ties and traditions and all that. But particularly in the Reconstruction era, after the Civil War, and then in the early 20th century, when, for lack of a better word, we were modernizing, to what most of us would at least more associate with. I think for my age, full on boomers, right? You would more easily associate, uh, even with like a Depression era 20th century, as opposed to the end of the 19th century post Civil War. There's just so many common ties to what we know in our own world. The advance of electricity and automobiles being two huge ones that, prior to, we would find ourselves, if you just stumbled through a time machine or portal or whatever, right? And you get plopped down in either 1870 or 1910, that's a very different um, state of being, right? That um, already at that point, there's a lot more spread of internal plumbing and, um, just traditional bathroom, flush toilets, and things like that. But electric light and lighting would be huge. The paving of roads, that wasn't, you go back to old town districts in the east and cities and things like that. The streets are paved in cobbles and things like that. But this idea of asphalt or something that could be used to unify a bed of gravel, where the idea of steamrollers, right? They'd lay down hot tar and then put gravel over the top of it, run a steamroller over the top to press it all together, and you've got a much superior roadbed to the dirt that had been um, tying everything else together. So, those ideas uh, start to take root, and this idea of no longer being about individual states was in part the railroads started it, travel for travel's sake more than, just a few miles to get out of a city for maybe a cool in the summer. But travel to go see sights, the Grand Canyon or Yellowstone or um, Glacier in. Oh, I'm so get on the edge, but not off it. All that kind of industry then got picked up very much by automobiles, and that's where you have like the Route 66 and some of those kinds of things. Of we got these modeled A's and T's and early old timey cars, but people would load those up and go take off and see the country. And so over time, this idea of um, Kentucky being different from Ohio, or Texas and Oklahoma and the Red River shootout being, a kind of sort of real deal. And again, this is a conscious effort because we've just had a civil war in the generation past, and so there's programs and ideas to try to bring all of the states back together to work as a unified whole. And certainly we've seen that part has been successful. Now we as a people may not all agree, but we tend to have a lot less to do with state lines at this point, in how we associate our thinking and our view of issues and various things like that. But in that early 20th century, I am fairly confident. I don't know. I think some of these state bird, tree, song, whatever, some of those go back earlier on the East Coast where there were, uh, Ohio and the Buckeye, right? Some of those kind of things already predated any effort to unify, but probably in that post Civil War modernizing boosterism, tourism, all that, you got people that were going around saying, "Hey, Washington State, we see you don't have a flower. We'd like to get you listed so that for political conventions or whatever. When representatives of your state show up, they've got something to compare with all these others, and eventually you just kind of chase around and get everybody on the books, so to speak. Like, okay, this is your flower, this is your song, whatever, tree, food." Land-based mammal. I don't know. I don't know what all they have, but there was very much this attitude. Now I think we've kind of moved beyond that to where a lot of us don't even, outside of some of the sports, but those get to be over state lines too, especially in the professional levels, colleges and things like that. But we all scatter, right? We travel to go to school and we travel to come back. Again, 150 years ago, maybe that's a little much, but 100 years ago, people didn't tend to travel as far. This whole idea of out of state travel for going to school would have been relatively uncommon. If you were going to school, you would go to one of usually two of the public entities in your state, and those would be a ag school and then a kind of law medicine type school, like a kind of the hardcore university of the more traditional education, and then the ag schools or tech schools, which became much more modern. They were really modern. And I went to the University of Colorado, so I have kind of came out of that big brother mentality, right? And the University of Colorado is still very well known for its physics and sciences, and a little bit untraditionally, its School of Engineering has kind of molded that out. But that didn't used to be the case. Engineering, for a long time, went along with agriculture. These were the kind of scientific and developing things. So here in Colorado, we have a Colorado School of Mines, which has a long, prestigious tradition, and Colorado State University up in Fort Collins, which is the Ag School of Colorado. And those two kind of split, but a lot of places they didn't. And it was, engineering, mining, agriculture, all that. And those schools a lot of times become the Aggies. Texas Tech or A&M, the Aggies. Now I'm confused. Anyway, that those were the ag schools, and they became the engineering schools as well, and kind of grouped those areas. But you didn't, you wouldn't have upped and relocated without very limited exceptional cases. But in my case, moving from the Midwest to Colorado for school, and kind of as the my already decision by that point that I wanted to live out in the Mountain West as I grew up, that wasn't a thing. It wasn't a thing that just, okay, yeah, well, I'm gonna pick up and move. Only more recently have we started becoming this much more fluid society that does bounce around between various states, and a lot of that is the rural to urban migration. It used to be that the majority of the American population lived in small towns or on farms, and you stayed close by your family. You may have gone to an ag school or something like that, or gone out and studied a profession, but you'd return back to the town or area where you were born and grew up, and you may become a doctor, but you'd stay in that area as you did. And you didn't, if you got sick, you didn't go to a big city for a big special hospital for extra care. You you went to the local doctor, and maybe if he said, oh, this is, I think this can be helped, but I don't have the expertise or the tools to do it, he may then refer you on to a city, and with things like tuberculosis and something like that, they may, in extreme cases, or if you had the means to do it, they may recommend that you move to a desert or the mountains or something like that for the drier, less humid air, to in idea of promoting healing and wellness there. So, but we've come to the point now where, yeah, we may associate with urban areas, or like cities and regions, more so than a particular state. And you know folks that live in, um, I'm trying to think of, well, okay, so like Northern California, Southern California, right? And a lot of times, that's bandied about as they could, Northern California could secede and make a separate state because they are so different. But that would be one where, kind of north of San Francisco, um, as you go up into Northern California, you do get a different outlook and values and means of earning a living, like, right, industries and all that. Um, Differences in agriculture. That the area around Bakersfield is a lot different than the hill country up north. So there's a lot of different, just very different ways of leading lives. And so those people may associate more with the Pacific Northwest, um, as a cultural regional group, than they would with San Diego, and a hot area. And again, California's a big state, so it has more of that. And I kind of had to think around for areas like that. But places that are coastal and then have mountainy regions, within a state, some of those places, the mountain folk may associate more with other people in that mountain range, like the Appalachia type area, than they would with the people in their own state that live on the coast. So interesting how we all associate around with that. But and for that reason, I think we tend to care less about what is my state's bird or song or anything like that. Okay. Somebody said that once. It's fun for trivia and all that, but otherwise doesn't have a whole lot of bearing. And I don't know if I don't know if back in the day if people really particularly cared either. Like, oh, let's go. But certainly were things that at the time they thought were worth promoting amongst their states, and just in, I would imagine lighthearted banter and all that kind of stuff, but back and forth, would give you um, means of identifying and associating with one another. All right, one more run down here, and then we'll get back over. I don't know how much time we'll have to hang these blocks, but I hope with the extra space in our pockets, right, the extra inventory room, we'll have a good chance to get good progress going. I'm going to take another sip of coffee here. We'll go. Ooh, it's still a little hot. I refreshed in the break. Yeah, it's going to be heavy caffeine today after all those yawns early on. It's going, and I would like to push pretty hard today, especially now that I got that oops. It's no surprise if I can run four or five episodes up in a day. The earliest ones from that day, people are just going to jump ahead and be like, "Hey, where'd we go?" And if they want to look back for some event along the way, um, welcome to do so. But we'll kind of try to bury the mistake episode. I didn't tweet it either. I'll tweet this one. Okay. Nothing to see here. So, welcome, Twitter folks that may have seen this tweet. Gotcha. I made you miss the hidden episode. No, we don't shy away from it. This is Minecraft, and it's hardcore, and we're all, even the very best of players and content creators still make mistakes, and I don't think we in YouTube land do a very good job of saying that that's okay. It's so many people in creating the content. Um, just cut that out, right? So if you're new to the game or just figuring it out, okay, this is our hidden little pathway here. Um, you're like, oh, super streamer or super recorder never makes those mistakes. They're so good. Well, they do. They're just selectively editing it here because I want everything in the world to be out there and accessible. I'm not hiding away my own mistakes. I'm thick-skinned enough to deal with them, and none of us are perfect. We're all flawed, and I certainly am arguably more than others. So I can deal with it. But yeah, I hate those. I hate those goose, and this one is absolutely just mind-boggling because when I have two things that I always have to try to remember, and I do marginally well at um, either one. The one is I have to plug in my headset to get the mic close, as opposed to just having the laptop mic, which is going to pick up all the ambient stuff, even worse than the cheap headset mic that I have. Why am I upstairs? I think the one answer is we don't need more scaffold than what we've got. We're on the tallest tower right now, and it was taller than it needed to be, so we don't need more than a stack. Good there. Now we'll go back down and show you guys, actually let you see, not just hear, the progress we made in our arena. It's coming. Not near done, but it's making a bit of progress. Oh, those quads. So much bunny hopping. lost my forward momentum there and was just kind of hopping slowly along. It's the problem with having this be narrow. If you clip a edge of a wall or anything, you're kind of stuck right there. You can see the difference. So try to avoid the lava. And here we go. All right. So there it is, majestic and wonderful. We have gotten a good start, and here's kind of the technique as good as we can make it. The one thing we want to try to do is avoid those, because we've got to obviously bring them back up. Oh, awful. Maybe I should hide. Hide behind the thank you screen again. No. Got a hole back there. Here. It does get tougher though as we get some of these points sticking out further and further. This bit is still tough. And now it doesn't stand out enough for me to really... Ooh. Catch it very well. Alright, let's just finish. There. Good enough. Now we don't have to worry about falling in the hole. We shouldn't have to worry too much about... See, it's these that keep jumping out further and further. Mess us up. Oh. Wow. Ah! What I really wanted to do is come back and find this hole. I'm getting there though. There's our lava pit somewhere up above. So if we can get to clearing out the blocks below us, which would be great. a lot of this noise should die away, right? We'll be more removed. We'll have this extra layer of block insulation. I don't know if that's legitimately a thing or not, but one more miss. Why this middle always gives us such trouble. Thought there was another. There it is. I was gonna say I thought there was another hole somewhere. Again, we'll have to go scan a bit for openings too. Ah, almost had that one timed right. Now I'm all cautious. Hey, 1 in 5. Boo. 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 Did watch Princess Bride at some point along the way. I don't know what inspired that exactly, but such classic. Oh, I was worried. Please let there be one more stack. Hopefully there's a lot more than that, but didn't want to get left short. Alright. Awesome, 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 awesome. Now, how do we want to... I'm just kind of looking as we go here. How much? We still got pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and do this because we already saw that it's that we don't want. Oh, see, I knew we'd discover them. And as much as I kind of want to just do each section and take them down, I think we probably should take another layer, which is annoying because of the torches. Maybe we'll just go around the torches, but any of those little holes will be much more visible if we're slightly lower. Because then instead of just being kind of the dark on dark, we'll be able to see some of whatever block is up above standing out. That's what I didn't want to have to deal with, was just that slow moving piecemeal. We're falling off the edge. We'll get there. I think we've only got one more side, right? Yeah. Probably doesn't matter at all, but... Awesome. All right, so the rest of those now, we can just go lower and lower and lower from below, right? We can just, without having to hop or anything, we can reach up and place those blocks. So I'm good there. Let's leave that obsidian. This never got used at all. Think let's, well, first of all, let's check the time. Ooh, 55. All right, and no thank you screen up, so that's awesome. All right, let's come back here. I think what we're gonna do is maybe leave the torch blocks and do everything around them or the rows up and down something so that we get enough that we can walk and see without having to be like right beneath a mist block if there's any more holes. Tried to do a good job, but will remain to be seen. And then we'll obviously need to get probably two more trips worth of obsidian to finish this out. Uh, what is this? Five more? One, two, three, four. Five more for the sides, the floor, and the pits. And we know how much the floor is. Floor is going to be about this again. So a lot there, and then we got to make some pits to go around our wither when he first spawns. So yeah, we'll see the other. Maybe we don't even do pits. If we've got this much space, I don't know. We'll think about that. We got probably the rest of the day of setup to think about it, come up with a good plan. So we'll just park right down here. Still got some time on that pick, but we'll probably need to swap out again at the end of or sometime during the next episode. Let's go ahead and save it right there. I will, because I'm feeling saucy, put up the thank you screen. Anybody who saw it continuously for the last episode knows I really do appreciate you guys watching. I hope you come back for more. We're getting close, closer anyway, and it should take shape pretty quickly. We'll go ahead and knock out a bunch of this quarrying work to get the space of our room set up, and then we'll do the rest of the box in Obsidian. Be ready for our fight. So come on back, check back for more. Take care of yourselves in the meantime. Take a good break. I know I'm going to, and stretch those legs, get moving a little bit, and we'll see you back here for the next one. Bye now.